with me is
Rebecca,
and Roz.
talking about things, the actual things that consequences.
Yes.
I obviously have fogging issues, the chronic problems with wear glasses.
Yeah, do you have two masks on?
I do.
Didn't help this time.
But that there are actual consequences, and there should be actual accountability, because there was actual consequences from this sort of bullying and this sort of toxicity.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, shall we tell our stories?
My story will be posted. It's a 20-minute video on my experience with this coven without naming names. Again, my image is also my property, and my experiences and truths is not slander. But I will be posting that and sharing more in detail on that experience, but I do want to say that the spiritual leader did cause a lot of spiritual trauma on my spiritual journey. But I am working through this trauma by sharing my experience and making this video.
Yay. So I guess yes. Yeah, so I will begin and you can chime in. So like I said in the first video, I was living on site with my 16-year-old son, and I was a single mother. I was on a fixed income. I didn't have much money, and we had decided to go on a trip to out of town. A whole group of us had decided to go on a trip on a plane. And we went on this trip, and we were approached by another couple who the rest of the group had been befriending. I did not talk to them one time before this, and they came up to me in particular and said to me, would you read my tarot cards? The lady did. And then she said that she had felt like she was cursed. And so I started reading her tarot cards, and the first card I pulled up was the star card. So of course, the first thing out of my mouth was, you're not cursed. Like, that was like immediately. She said, I'm cursed. I pulled the star card and said, you're not cursed. It was immediate. And I did the whole reading, and I walked inside the place where we were staying, our set of rooms. And one of the other people that was there with the group immediately said, that was an A+ reading. And the toxic leader screamed in front of everybody, that was an F reading. And then she said that I had messed up things between this couple, and that I've created tension with this couple, and that now they were going to be fighting, and that you never tell a person that they're not cursed. And
I know, right?
Like, why do you want to have potential clients be fearful of you? That doesn't make sense that you want to keep that fear on your clients.
I don't even know why I can't even imagine why she said that, but the other person who had said that was an A+ reading, then later on, just for reference, went and spoke to this couple and asked if there was tension because of the reading, and they vehemently said that caused no tension, and that they actually felt better as a couple after the reading. So, and of course, I was like, it went on and on and on. Like, the insistence and the ridicule went on, I would say, for a good half hour, 45 minutes, because until you got sick of it.
I was not there for this.
No.
I had left before, when they were starting to invite the couple over. I'm like, I don't want to talk to people. I buggered off. I went upstairs. I was already a little bit overloaded. There was a little too many people around me. It was humid as F. It was awful. So I wasn't present
for the original tarot card. But then when I came in and the argument...
Once you guys came in, that's when I could hear it through the window.
Yeah.
I heard pieces through the window. But I was not present until you came back into the room.
And then the arguing went on and on and on. And I was just not going to back down. I just was like, you know what? I read what the card said. I'm sorry. That's what the card said. I did the reading. I wasn't saying anything negative about her. I was just saying that. And it was just endless until, like, I thought that it was you who stopped it, who finally said something that stopped the argument. Because then after you jumped in, and then she said, we're ending this. And she screamed and threw her hands to the side and said, this is over. And so, of course, I'm publicly humiliated. I feel terrible. And there's this insistence that you can't show any weakness. So I am sick to my stomach. I feel like I'm gonna cry. We get ready for dinner, and the whole time, all I'm trying to do is not cry. Like the whole time. And let me tell you this, okay, I did end up crying for days after that. But that's all I was doing. I had been accused later on that I was being passive aggressive, but all I was doing was trying not to cry. I was so humiliated and hurt by the things that had happened to me. And so then, in the morning, we were all sitting out there, and we weren't even talking about it at that point because I was still so, like, emotionally, it was right at my throat. And I couldn't say anything, and I was just so upset. I was sitting there outside, and I was kind of like curled up, and this woman comes out, and she leans in, and she just smacks right in my face like this, and she says, "Don't talk about me ever without me being here," or something like that. She was screaming again, and then she stormed off.
And she forced everyone to hug her goodbye.
Yeah. And you saw that incident where
I did see that. I saw that clearly.
She claims that there was an apology.
I saw it from this angle, so I saw how close the clap came to her.
The clap was really
it was
close.
Right in her face.
Wow.
Yes. And I mean, I knew that was, I didn't even know what to do. I didn't know what to do. Then she left, and from then on, I just was crying. I cried the whole plane trip back. I didn't know what to do. And in fact, when we got back though, there was talk that the three of us, the person that said it was an A+ reading, Roz and I, there was talk about what we should do about this within the group. And it had come to be decided that what we were going to do is we were just not going to let it ever happen again. So we weren't going to leave the group. We were just going to make sure that any time that
we were going to call out any more acts of bullying we saw.
Yeah, and
by anyone.
Exactly. Like there's this idea that you can do whatever you want. You do you. And so if there was anything that violated the you do you clause, that we were just going to say it. Hey, she's just doing her.
Yeah.
She's just doing her thing. And so as a group, that's what we were going to do. But then we get back, and immediately there's this, were coming up to me and approaching me and saying, like, what happened? We heard from this person that this happened. It was clear that there had been emails forwarded around the group of people. And so it came to the point where we had a group text, and I put out on the group text what happened. And I just threw it out there, and it just got uglier and uglier and uglier, and that's when you left the group text. And later,
she said it was too late to talk about this anymore. Because you were like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Either way, but I want you guys to know the truth, that it hurts that this is the last thing you're going to hear about me. So here's what happened. And then she's like, well, it's too late to talk about it now. So that's when I said, apparently.
And then
apparently we're not talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out that, okay, so I had to leave. I wanted to be out of that place before she got back from her trip, because she had gone to another location to see somebody else. She had flown somewhere else. And I wanted to be out of that place before she got back. And we left that place sparkly, better than I've ever left any apartment in my whole life. We left it, I cleaned and vacuumed just to make sure that everything was perfect. She had nothing to say about it. Everything that I had that was hers was left in the closet very neatly. I took pictures, by the way. Nobody bothered to ask me for, because I took pictures of everything to make sure. But later, there was accusations that we had desecrated her altar space, and that we had like lit candles and threw things up, like around. And I just want to say, that's not how I do magic. If I wanted to do magic, which I'm not saying I did or I did not, I'm pleading the fifth on this. That is not the way that I operate. Okay, so if I was gonna do some magic, that is certainly not the kind of crap I would do, because it's so obvious.
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to be so obvious about it? Like, I would never have done that kind of crap.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm almost
only did we do it, don't touch it.
You don't know what, you don't want to know where it's been.
You don't even want to know.
Exactly. And so, and
A
there's
little too late now. But
the lies went on and on and on. I mean, there was lies about me and inappropriate behavior with another person in our group. There was lies about me calling and telling people, other people, that they couldn't hang out there.
yeah.
Easily corroborated lies, like that
Yeah.
anybody could just go to those people and ask them the truth, and they didn't.
Yep.
They just choose to believe these terrible lies about me, which that's the way it is, you know? You can't do anything about that. But all I know is that one day, it will, if it hasn't already happened to other people, it will happen to you. Or one day you will have to look in the mirror and see yourself and realize that you have participated in this kind of bull crap. You participated in hurting a 16-year-old boy who had to then leave the property. You participated in like a public humiliation at the group level. You participated in outrageous lies that could have really gotten people in other sorts of trouble.
You're participating in the gaslighting, basically.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm here and saying this because I'm taking the shame out of it. You know, I've
Speaking
seen.
our truths.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's people that I've seen recently that talked about abuse, and they're out there saying those things, and they're scary to say, because when you are lied about and when you are publicly humiliated, you feel ashamed. You take on that shame. You internalize that shame. When you're told that you can't cry about being publicly
Anything.
abused, you feel shame yourself. And the reality is that there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's
Say it again.
nothing
Your
to be
tears are sacred.
Your tears are sacred.
They are sacred, and there's nothing to be ashamed about. And the only way to combat this is to speak it.
Absolutely. Take the shame out of public humiliation.
So, and I have not talked to this person since. Although, like I said, I talked to other people in the community, and people that are in our group have talked to other people in the community who are afraid to say that they've talked to us.
Yes.
So,
They don't want anyone to know that there's any communication.
because of reprisal. So, anyway.
Sounds wonderfully
If
spiritual.
you want to tell what you know about that, then
No, I
What
think
happened to
that's
you?
about it. Yeah. No, I didn't internalize any public humiliation I may have experienced. Again, I wish I trusted my instincts a little more from the beginning with this person in the group. Yeah, I guess you reminded me of the littlest thing. There was a moment at a group gathering where there was a member who had behaved inappropriately and then was sort of just showing up still, but hadn't cleared up the inappropriate behavior. And everybody was coming over and telling me, I can't believe this person's not apologized yet. So finally, I got up, went over, told the person to apologize. And then went and sat down, and they came over and they apologized. Then apparently she came over and said, I need to talk to you right now. She couldn't have just hey, can I talk to you for a minute? She came over and took me aside. I didn't realize how aggressive it was at the time until you pointed it out to me this morning, but also I didn't back down early because it was time for the apology. That was it. But
Yeah.
I that's my whole story. I don't really have. I wasn't
I
really.
want to ask you a question. Did you ever hear any apologies from this person, this toxic leader, to me?
No, I've never heard that toxic leader apologize.
She told me during the group meeting, but before I was abandoned, when I was stating how I was feeling, type thing.
Which she kept interrupting.
Yeah, well, she kept interrupting, which is the funny thing. I didn't even get to finish. But she said, when I shared my part on how she made me feel, she said, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's not a proper apology.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she actually made you feel like that's what you thought? That's what
Yeah.
you felt?
Yeah, severe
How?
gaslighting.
Why would you think that I would do that?
Yeah. It
And
was
it was, at that moment that I realized, well, you did do that. But I didn't say anything.
That's okay. You made that observation.
I know there was at that event, that trip, there was the leader, one other person, and there was a leader, and there was 3 other people. Okay, 4 other people. 3 of the 4 left the group after that incident. Okay, so like let that sink in. Like 3 of the 4 people like thought that whole incident with the clapping and the public humiliation and the it was severe. Like it's not like I just don't get like I'm still like blown away that people like believe the crap. Like,
Or maybe they just don't care one way or the other.
they probably don't. They probably don't care. I mean, it's fine if they don't care, because I realize that some of the things you go through,
There are certainly people who do believe it, but I think there are people who just don't care one way or the other.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And then I think that you go through some of these things so that you can guide other people
Yeah.
through similar situations or through instances of bullying. And you know, it's changed the way I think about my like law practice and about the kind of things that I'm gonna do. And I'm really gonna start focusing in on like situations of abuse, like domestic violence, civil harassment. Even kids who are bullied it's really changed my mind and like opened my eyes about what that looks like and what the things that need to happen and how they can be helped and remedied legally. So
I would just like to share my partner as well as my mentor's spiritual experience with a toxic leader. It's not the same leader that we've all had experience with, it's just a different one. She was meditating. She was given an element to meditate on and see what comes to her, and then there was going to be a sharing period. What my mentor saw was she heard running water. She heard footprints or footpaths in the water. She heard someone drinking water, and then she saw a pack of wolves all drinking water together. During the sharing part of the portion of what she saw in her vision, this spiritual leader said, "No, wolves have nothing to do with water. Do it again." That was very invalidating and just invalidating her personal spiritual experience.
Yes, and I was actually present for this. There was, we were learning about the different elemental associations and the different animal guides and spirits that are associated with different elements. And so this leader in particular, she had this very structured idea of how this education should go. And in her mind, wolf is earth, and wolf cannot be anything other than earth. And if you just happen to spontaneously see something that combines those 2 elements, which could indicate something interesting, to her that was an affront to her authority over the group. That was, you are teaching them wrong. That is not right. So I don't know what to tell you. Your vision was wrong, essentially. And unfortunately, what ended up happening is it turned into the whole group kind of ganging up on our mentor and partner. There was a little bit of like everybody kind of talking over each other, and wolf is not water, water is other things, and very much like by the book to a fault, and to the point of cutting out any possibility of interpreting this incredibly compelling vision that this person had just spontaneously had. And it was a little revealing. It was revealing. And I must say again, not all spiritual communities are cults. Sometimes you can be in a spiritual community that is still a little bit controlling. It doesn't quite meet the specifications of a cult. But this person is still telling you how to think, feel, or say, or do things in a way that doesn't really make you feel as comfortable as you would like. And it's important to hold your ground there. It's important to assert autonomy over your journey, and autonomy over how you worship divinity and how you channel divinity, because everybody has their own unique connection to that. And if your leader, if your guide cannot respect your own personal connection to divinity by trying to supplant it with their own, that's a problem. That's a problem. So yeah, there are other. Another thing that I would ask to watch out for is a lack of self-awareness in a spiritual leader. If there is no, if you ask them for a little bit of humility and then they don't even take up that, a spiritual leader needs to be grounded. A spiritual leader needs to be self-aware. A spiritual leader needs to be fucking humble.
Yeah, seriously.
And that is all I have to say. I feel complete on that for now. I may have more to say on that matter at a later date, but yeah, if you'd like, we can seize the video and switch back out again.
But
okay.
Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for listening to our experiences, and please be on the lookout for toxic leaders that have these traits, and please know that your experience is valid.
Yes.
Till next time, I'll probably be doing a little spell or how to do grounding and shielding the proper way. So
I would like to add, I have some links and resources for people who have been in cults and who are recovering from that experience. I can add those links to her channel as well.
It will be down below, so please like, comment, and subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.